Hello, book lovers, and welcome to Book Talk Radio Club. My name is Claire Perkins, and today I'm talking to Keri De Deo, author of Nothing But a Song, a young adult novel and a finalist in Book Talk Radio Club's 2018 awards. This is the story of Rebecca Kendall, who has a life any 19-year-old would envy: musical talent, love, romance, and a promising future. When a tragic accident erases her past, present, and future, Rebecca's life turns into turmoil and irreconcilable loss. Hi, Keri. First of all, welcome and thank you for coming on Book Talk Radio Club.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.
My pleasure.
Without giving away too much, of course, can you tell us a bit more about the story?
Absolutely. So, Rebecca is a singer and a songwriter, and she loses her hearing from a horrific accident. And she has to find a way of making her dream come true despite the obstacles. And that is where the conflict arises in the book.
Right. So what kind of person is she, Rebecca Kendall? What kind of person is she prior to the accident and then afterwards? Many people that have experienced life-changing events do come out of the experience a totally different person, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. I have experience in that myself. Well, so Rebecca is pretty much like any other teenager, except she has a really solid family life. She has friends. She gets together with her friends a lot. They have play games at her house. She has a boyfriend. She has musical talent. She's in the choir. She's singing in high school and singing at church and everything. And then this accident happens, and she loses her hearing. She loses her boyfriend. She pretty much loses everything. And she was getting ready to go to college, and then the tragedy happened, and it just completely changed her plans, and it changed her.
Sure.
In a way. She became quiet and a little bit depressed, and just lost.
Sure. Well, as I just stated, she's involved in a terrible accident. She loses a boyfriend and her ability to hear. May I ask, did you write from experience or did you have to carry out research?
I actually wrote the book when I was 14.
Oh,
and
wow.
So, yeah. So the idea came from a conversation I had with my friends. And, I know a lot of teenagers have that conversation of, would you rather be deaf or blind? And I really thought about that. And
Thank God I'm not a teenager anymore.
Right. And so I thought, it would probably be worse to be deaf. And then I just started thinking about, well, what would that be like? And so I imagined what a lot of it would be like, and I wrote a lot of that. And then later on, when I was revising it, I did a lot of research.
Right. Nothing But a Song is, of course, about the love of music. Are you musical?
I absolutely am musical. So all of the songs in the book, I wrote the words to, and I had written some tunes to it too, but had kind of lost those. But I've been playing violin since I was 4 years old, and I switched to viola when I was 17, and I play in two local symphonies here in Kingman and Lake Havasu City. Yeah.
I have to ask, what's the difference between a violin and a viola?
So a violin has like the upper strings. You can think of the violin as playing the like the soprano and the alto in a choir. And then the viola plays the tenor. It has the same strings as a cello, so it has the lower strings like a C string.
Right.
But you hold it like a violin, and so it's slightly bigger than a violin, but not as big as a cello.
So it's got a deeper sound?
Definitely, it has a deeper sound, and I love that deeper sound.
This is your first novel. Why choose young adult fiction?
Well, it kind of chose me. So I wrote this when I was 14, like I said, and I did another version of it when I was 17, and it sat in a box for so long, and I just kept thinking about it, and that character is just so much a part of me, I guess, and so she just kept talking to me in a way, and I finally talked to a publisher about it and said, that I have this story in a box and maybe she'd be interested in it, and she was very interested in it, and she latched onto it, and so it already had that teenage tone to it, and we really wanted to maintain that.
Yeah. It sounds like that book had to be born.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, definitely. And what's really exciting too is the title "Nothing But a Song." that was the first title that I thought of when I was 14, and it just stuck. And the publisher liked the title too, and so we kept it.
That definitely had to become an entity, that book, didn't it?
Absolutely.
So will we be hearing more from Rebecca Kendall, or is Nothing But a Song just a one-off?
It was intended to be a one-off, but my publisher really wants me to do a sequel, and everybody has just fallen in love with Rebecca Kendall, and I have too, and I can't help but write a second book. So I'm writing a second book, and there will probably be a third book out there. And so on her second book, she goes on tour. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, then. So, Keri, you're the owner of Witty Owl Consulting and a writing coach, editor, and instructional designer. Great name for a business, by the way. I love that, Witty Owl Consulting. What does an instructional designer do?
Well, an instructional designer designs educational materials to be used in a classroom of all ages. Right. We also help teachers with their teaching style and improving their lessons. And we also help teachers learn instructional technology, like how to use videos in the classroom, how to create games, lecture materials, all kinds of things like that.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard of that before. I've never, excuse me, I never heard of it being given that title before. So, as an editor, what's the one most essential piece of advice you will give new authors?
So, a lot of authors, they're really stuck on having the perfect beginning, right? And so they sit there and they think about the perfect beginning, and they get stuck, and they just can't even start writing. And so my advice is to just write. You just have to just start writing, because you can revise it later, and the beginning is the hardest to write. So I say write it last, and because you can always go back and edit. Yes. And that's my second piece of advice is edit. A lot of times writers, they write their first draft and they think they're done, and no, you have to go back and fix things.
Yes, exactly. And someone asked me the other day, I was being interviewed about Book Talk Radio Club, and the guy said to me, what some people get stuck with writing. What do they have to do? What's the format? I said, there's no real format. Just write from your heart, write from your soul. And then you can do all the revisions, then you can start structuring, but just write what's in your head and in your heart.
Exactly.
You have a blog on your author website, keridedeo.com. How important do you think it is for an author to have a blog, and why?
Well, I think that it's really important to have a blog, just one, to show your writing style, show that you are writing, to encourage you to keep writing as well, and also to get your name out there. I think it's really important for marketing to let people know that this sounds kind of bad, but you're doing more than just sitting and writing books, that you're involved in the community and you're involved in society, and you're doing a lot of other types of work.
It's also good for the readers to get to know the person behind the books, isn't it? And I think that's what a blog does.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of people, they make a connection with the characters in the book, and then they make a connection with the author as well. And you want to learn more about the author. And so having a blog lets the readers come in and get to know you. And then, hopefully they like you and they keep buying your books because they want to keep learning more about you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So talking of your website, I noticed that you offer Rebecca's song. Did you compose and perform it?
So this is really a great story. I wrote the words, and I had written a song that went with it, but I couldn't remember it. And so I gave it to my niece. Right. And she was 19 at the time, and I just said, I gave her the book before it was even published, and I gave her and she wrote a song. She wrote the music to go with the words.
Okay.
The last song. And that's her performing it on the video.
Ah, she's got a lovely voice.
She really does. I'm really amazed. And she said she wrote 3 different versions, and she sent me that one as the first version, and I just fell in love with it. And yeah, it was perfect.
What a talented family.
Yes, yeah. My whole family are musical. We all play musical instruments.
I couldn't play a musical instrument to save my life. When I was at school, I was given the recorder, and it sounded like someone was strangling a cat, and that was the end of that.
That is where a lot of musicians start.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's where I stopped. You're receiving 4 and 5-star reviews over on Amazon. Congratulations.
Thank
Amongst
you.
them being such a beautifully crafted love story that takes such grief and misfortune and turns it into a positive new beginning. From start to finish, this story will rivet the reader to turn the next page in anticipation. Keri has the ability to make each reader feel the loss while dealing with tasks and situations most of us find impossible to fathom. Her dedication to the arts and the concern for overcoming disabilities makes Nothing But a Song a must-read for all. That's a very good review, Keri, and great validation of your writing skills and storytelling. But isn't it funny how, as authors, we need praise from complete strangers to tell us that we're good at what we do?
Oh, exactly, exactly. I think that, as writers, writing is such a, we're so involved in our head, and we're stuck
Mm,
in our head, and
mm,
it's pretty isolating. And we
yes.
spend years writing a book, and we think it's good, and our publisher thinks it's good, and the
Yeah.
people around us, our writing group, they might think it's good,
Yeah.
and you put it out there in the world, and you just hold your breath and hope that people like it and hope it's good,
Yeah.
and we want to confirm our own beliefs and our own understanding of the book. And so
Yes.
when it comes back that people really like it, it's exhilarating and very exciting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not one of my family or it's not my parents. Someone else loves my book.
Right, exactly, exactly. It's just, yeah. I mean, books are written to be read, and
Yes.
we forget that sometimes,
Yeah,
and
exactly. Nothing But a Song is a finalist in Young Adult Fiction in next month's Book Talk Radio Club Awards. Will you be listening in to the announcements?
oh, absolutely. I'm very excited about that, and I'm very honored to be amongst the nominations.
Oh,
And also, if I win the award, it'll be the second award. I just won a Moonbeam Award for Nothing But a Song.
oh, wonderful. What's a Moonbeam Award?
So a Moonbeam Award it's for children's literature, and they're sponsored by the Jensen Marketing Group up in Michigan. So I'll be
Right.
heading up to Michigan in November to accept that award, and I'll
Right.
get a little sticker that'll go on the cover.
Well, I'll give you a sticker as well.
I will. Awesome! I'm
Well, you're a
excited.
finalist, so you got your sticker.
Very cool.
Lastly, where can Book Talk Radio Club's listeners purchase Nothing But a Song?
Anywhere books are sold. It's now also available on ebook on Amazon,
Right.
and yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you, Keri. Please come back on Book Talk Radio Club when you've published your next book. I'd love to chat with you and hear more. In the meantime, good luck for the future. And thank you, everyone, for listening to Book Talk Radio Club. Thank you, Keri.
Thank you.
Sure.